Hey guys, what's up? It's Rygar the Destroyer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Gamestop Exclusive Flametrooper from the Gamestop Gaming Greats lineup of Black Series figures. Now, as always, if you like this video and want to see more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's free, and it really helps out the channel. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this guy's packaging. Here it is. As you can see, it is in the new style Black Series packaging. Nice big window here on the front of the box with the Gaming Greats sticker pressed on there. On the side, there is some really cool artwork for the Flametrooper there, which of course is repeated on the back here. And there is a brief description. And if you'd like to read that, you can go ahead and just pause the video. So overall, pretty standard stuff. So let's go ahead and get back to the figure itself here. Now the Flametrooper stands at, let's see, right at 6 inches tall. So he's right in scale with all of your other Black Series figures, and he does come with 2 accessories. The first one here is his backpack, and as you can see here, it just plugs into the giant hole on his back there. It's got some pretty nice detail and paintwork on there, and as you can see, it has this little tube which kind of hooks up underneath the character's arm. And then, of course, that connects to the rifle here, or the flamethrower. Really not a ton of paintwork on this thing. There is some kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it, like glitter almost, sort of molded into the plastic to give it kind of a metallic effect, but I don't think it works very well. It looks very plasticky. And the only paintwork on there is this kind of like red overspray. And, you know, overall, I wish they had gone with just a basic dry brush instead of this red with the kind of sparkly plastic. I think it would have given a more realistic look overall. And I really don't think that this red kind of overspray style works that well. So I'm not overly thrilled with the paintwork. In fact, I almost would have been more pleased with it if they had just left this red paint at the end off completely, just left it molded plastic. One other thing I do want to mention is that this little tube plugs into the handle of the flamethrower, and of course it can be placed into the figure's actual hands. It's pretty easy to do, and the figure holds it well. Now, as far as articulation on this figure goes, it's pretty good. You know, there are a couple problems, and we'll talk about that as we go through. The first one here is in his head. Now, there is a ball peg and a hinge in the neck, which normally would give you pretty decent motion, but on this figure, because of the kind of like the collar, the low collar on the helmet, you pretty much only get a swivel, and then from the hinge you can kind of move the head forward and back just a little bit. Now, I know that there's not a lot Hasbro really could have done to prevent this, but it is one thing that I do want to mention is that the articulation is a bit limited. It's not limited, I would say, to the point that you can't pose the figure, but it's just not as dynamic as some of the other ones in the range. He does have ball hinge shoulders, decent range of motion there. They do swivel 360. He has hinged elbows with a swivel, and they get about 90 degrees, which I think is enough to get the job done. There are hinges and swivels at the wrist, and on this side the hinge runs this way through the hand, and on this side it runs this way through the hand, which I think makes posing this figure a lot easier, or any figure that needs to hold a rifle really needs that style articulation. There is a ball peg here at the waist, pretty decent range of motion there, not the greatest, but again, just because of the design of the armor, there's not a ton Hasbro could have done to give us that much more. At the hips, there are T-joints. They are limited by the sculpted cloth, I guess, cape here at his waist. But again, I'm glad that they didn't go with a fabric cape. At least this size, I don't think would have really worked that well. I think the sculpted detail, I think, works better overall. You can kick the legs forward again. You do kind of get hung up on the plastic there. There is a thigh swivel hidden up underneath there, double jointed knees with a decent range of motion there. You can get more if you kind of tuck it in front of the little cape here. And then at the ankle, he's got hinges with an ankle rocker. So overall, you know, pretty decent articulation. You know, even the spots where it's limited, it's not the biggest deal in the world. You know, I don't think many people are going to be doing crazy acrobatic poses with this guy, so I don't think he really needs that much articulation. Now, some problems with this figure that I do want to mention that don't necessarily show up on camera super well are some inconsistencies in the paint. So here on his upper leg, it's meant to be fabric that flows into his pants, which are tucked into his boots here. And up here at the hips, it is molded plastic, and then this lower half is molded in the color that the boots are. So they've painted this upper part that's meant to be the fabric, and it doesn't match the color of the pants at all. I mean, in person, it's not even close, and it really stands out. They've done the same thing here at the elbow, right here in this section. On camera, it doesn't look so bad because of the harsh lighting, but in person, you will definitely notice that there's a difference in color that's not meant to be there. It's not something that, in my opinion, takes away, you know, too much from the figure overall. If you're just looking at it from a shelf, it's not a huge deal, but definitely when you're holding it in your hands, it does show up. One other thing that I do want to mention is that I do really like the kind of Ralph McQuarrie throwback helmet that they've done here. You know, I'm kind of glad that they've taken, you know, a piece of artwork that was done as a concept and never made it into the movie and then brought it back in a video game. I think that is pretty cool. So overall, what do I think of this figure? You know, frankly, I don't think it's a figure that belongs in everybody's collection. It's not one that I would recommend tracking down if it's super expensive, but if you can get it for retail or below retail, I definitely recommend picking it up. I think it's cool to add another Trooper variant to the Black Series lineup, and I think in the future, Hasbro should focus on selecting exclusive characters that are like this guy. One that maybe not every single person wants to add to their collection, but one that I think, you know, collectors who are really interested in tracking it down can go out of their way to find. I think that's the best way to do exclusive. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your comments and questions down in the comment section below, and I guess I'll see you later.